Hi, my name is Erin Vashon, and I'm hybrid editor at Longleaf Review. Welcome to a special feature of our summer 2022 issue in the hybrid genre, where we sit with our hybrid authors to talk about their brilliant work and dig into their creative process. Today, I'm so happy to share space with Shlaga Bora to talk about her hybrid Status Unknown. Hi, Shlaga.
Hello.
Okay, so first, can you tell me a little bit about the initial process for making this piece? Did you start writing from the image or write and then add the image later?
So initially, these were two separate poems, and I was reading Diana Coy Nguyen's book,
Mhm.
Ghost of, and I was very heavily inspired by the diptych structure that she uses in her poems, and I was sort of trying to navigate that in my own work. But then a friend told me that, the pieces of your work are not separate, like they are not in contrast with each other, rather they're part of the same thread. So that really made me think. And I think it started from the Google search itself. And for context, I wrote this poem to my best friend who died by suicide in 2018. And I was looking for traces of him on the internet. And that is how the poem started. And then it became something else because I couldn't find him anywhere on the internet. So, yeah. So I think the image definitely came first, but even before the image came the search button. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I need to kind of sit with that for a minute.
Yeah. Should
Okay.
have probably given a trigger warning. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no. I mean, we can also we can put a trigger warning for this
Yeah.
later. So your piece, I would say, and I guess I'm going to quote directly from your piece. Your piece engages with the in the Google image search. It equally engages with what is shown in the search as what is not shown. So your piece says, quote, "The third image displays the puff face of my friend's mother, her lover on the side. They hung themselves 500 meters apart on a video call, drowning in the sound of the Brahmaputra. Tragic, really, not shown their suspension." Your writing so brilliantly shows that even when we're writing in hybrid, even when we're adding in the visual aid, there's something that's still very much out of reach. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, thank you for your thank you for reading my work with so much care.
Oh,
And yeah, I think there are definitely a lot of gaps even when I was trying to um put this piece into shape. I was navigating collective as well as individual grief at the same time, and the way of expressing both were really different. And while I knew how I felt about my personal grief, I did not have a specific feeling or emotion for what I felt about these collective news reports. And I was thinking about how, when we are on the receiving end of news, how there is a lack of transparency, and how that lack of transparency actually gives birth to indifference. Like, how do I feel about someone when I don't even know their name, right? So I was trying to think of all these things, and that's why in the very beginning I sort of took a very detached tone, like a very third person report sort of tone. And yeah, I think it's an attempt to at least find those gaps, if not fill them.
mm. I love what you said about individual versus collective grief. And I think especially in this current moment, so many people are navigating that. Yeah, I mean, there's a gap there that um, almost everyone is probably trying to bridge right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's interesting that um, yeah, there's also a gap trying to be bridged between the visual and the text too. So yeah, it's really fascinating that your piece is is jumping so many gaps at the same time, or trying to. Okay, so next question. The closing line of Status Unknown, it truly, every time I revisit your piece, it gives me goosebumps. Your closing line, and again, I'm going to quote each time. So it says, here, look closely. The search bar says your name, cause of death, place of death, year of death, but 15 quadrilaterals, all rectangles, some squares later. Not one of them reports you. Again, these lines, they recall the insufficiency of reportage. What is a hybrid, or, and this is a very large question. So like I said, I don't know that what that one person maybe is capable of answering this, but maybe for you, I guess maybe what's your opinion on this, but what do you think a hybrid is sufficiently capable of? And maybe it's just this, like what you're doing, but yeah, what are your thoughts on what a hybrid can do versus like just a poem in itself that's just text?
Yeah, I think specifically to this piece itself, I think the text alone does not do justice on its own, because like I said, it's very impersonal, right? Like even if I read the poem or I looked at the image separately, I would probably be indifferent to a lot of those rectangles that I'm talking about. But together they would tell me that even in all of these impersonal relationships, that I am looking for something which is greater than me, which is greater than what I'm feeling or my practice. And I think a lot of different artists today are trying to sort of go beyond individual units, and that makes me really hopeful. I still don't know what we as a collective are capable of achieving, but I do know that in some way or the other we are moving closer to that. And yeah, I think like for this poem itself, I wrote this poem for him, but it's not about him, right? So I think that even without talking, even without addressing something directly to someone, we could say a lot of things. And I think that's beautiful. And people are managing to do that. And that's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so closing question, and I guess it's just a fun one, a pivot. What is something really in any medium, because we're thinking in the hybrid form, that's really inspiring you as an artist right now?
um, I recently read Don Mi Choi's book, DMZ Colony. And I felt like that book, in conversation with Diana Coyneman's book, sort of really made me look into how we process grief and how our demographics, our geography, our identities truly shape in the way we grieve. And I'm really sitting with these thoughts and thinking about it a lot these days. So yeah, definitely that.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for talking with me today, Shlaga. You can view Shlaga's hybrid at the Longleaf Review website, along with the rest of our current issue. Again, thank you, Shlaga, for talking with me. Okay,
Thank you.
signing off.